The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. You are watching the Elite Eight, presented by AT&T. Let's take a look at the starting lineups, presented by Capital One. For Notre Dame, Hannah Hidalgo, Vanessa De Jesus, Kassan Prosper, Ayana Moore, and Coles round out Notre Dame's starting lineup. And for Connecticut, KK Arnold, Ashlyn Shade, AZ Fudge, Sarah Strong, and Sarah Williams to round out the 37-0 Huskies. Notre Dame led by Niele Ivey in her 6th season as head coach of Notre Dame. 21 years on Notre Dame's campus as a head coach. 3-2 against Gino Auriemma, the only head coach with a winning record with a minimum of 5 games coached. And Gino Auriemma in his 41st season, the most wins, the most Final Fours, the most national titles in Division I history. These teams met earlier this season, a decisive UConn win. 85-47 was the final, but both coaches feel like this is a much different Notre Dame team now. They have a lot of juice, and Hannah Hidalgo has been the best player in this tournament thus far. And here we go with a trip to the Final Four on the line.
You see Notre Dame starting out in a man-to-man. Hannah Hidalgo, the menace defensively, starts out on Ashlyn Shade.
Fudd does not get the roll, and then Hidalgo able to swipe away the rebound and win the possession for Notre Dame.
UConn starts out in man-to-man. KK Arnold on Hannah Hidalgo. This is a UConn team that will switch 1 through 5.
De Jesus kicks it out. Prosper looking for some help. Coles gives it back, and Prosper lays it in.
Really nice interior passing between the bigs for Notre Dame. When they can get into the paint and establish themselves inside, they can be very tough defensively.
You see Prosper's numbers in the tournament: 15 points per game, 53% from the floor. Here is Shade finding Sarah Williams for the layup and the foul. And an early personal on Malaya Coles. Important to note because Notre Dame really only goes 7 deep.
Sarah Williams has had success this year, this tournament, with the screen and roll. Beautiful delivery right where she can catch and finish, absorbing a smidge of contact to get the and one opportunity.
Connecticut has won 53 straight games. They've won those games by an average of 36.5 points per. Only one of those games decided by single digits. It came earlier this year against Michigan. Michigan will face Texas tomorrow here in the Elite Eight. Coles saving it and knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Notre Dame.
Interesting to see Notre Dame these last 2 possessions without having Hannah Hidalgo be the initiator of the offense, letting others go to work.
Knocked away by Strong. Hidalgo will let it go into the backcourt. Still 10 seconds to operate. Hidalgo will pull a deep 2. Back ironing off, and Strong the rebound. Hidalgo scored 28 of her 31 points in the paint in that Sweet 16 win, as that's knocked away by Prosper. Prosper did a great job defensively on Michaela Blakes in the Sweet 16. Had the assignment on Fudd there. Here is Moore asking for the screen. Instead tosses to Coles. De Jesus with 7 to shoot. De Jesus can't curl it in with the left hand.
And you saw all the switching that UConn was doing, whether it's with handoff or on-screen action.
Shade, no.
Shade has really struggled in this arena the last 2 games just to get her shot going.
And just in the tournament in general, 31% from the floor, 2 of 17 from 3. It's a player that shot it at 41% a season ago from 3. A deep one here, way off the mark for Moore, as that tilts out of bounds. Now, Niele Ivey pointed out to us before the game how key Ayana Moore hitting shots would be for Notre Dame in this game. Moore shot at around 40% from 3 on the season. but in that Sweet 16 matchup against her former team, went 0 for 8 from 3.
And in the first 2 rounds of the tournament, 7 of 14, so it was just against Vanderbilt where she really struggled with her stroke. See Notre Dame playing way off of Sarah Williams, not worried about her from the perimeter.
Fudd, little pull-up is good. Azzi Fudd, who has been excellent in this tournament, knocks down the mid-range. Gisela Sanchez into the game for Notre Dame as Coles goes to the bench. Sanchez loses it to Jesus, trying to save the possession. Shade comes away with it for Connecticut. Fudd off to Shade. Arnold dishing, Fudd taking, and can't get it to go. Back iron and off. Rebound controlled by Moore for Notre Dame, and then Shade took it back, and then Moore takes it right back herself. And that's going to be a double dribble. Ayanna Moore really sped up there by UConn's pressure.
And that's what Niele Ivey told us before the game. The biggest thing is we cannot let UConn's defensive pressure speed us up. You certainly saw that there. And KK Arnold is a premier defender in the country, and she's trying to keep the ball out of Hannah Hidalgo's hands. But Ashlyn Shade, the UConn team in general, when they can pick up full, are very disruptive.
Well, they've set a single-season D1 record for steals, and you could see Niele Ivey saying, we're good, calm down. Here's Arnold around the screen, little pull-up, short. Sarah Williams can't grab it. Hannah Hidalgo averaging 11 boards per game in this tournament. Hidalgo spinning, got denied by Strong. Wanted a whistle, didn't get it. Here is Fudd. Fudd digs in, misses the banker, and Hidalgo flies back for the rebound.
With the way Notre Dame is playing off of Sarah Williams, you wonder how quickly UConn and Coach Gina Auriemma will go to Blanca Quiñones off the bench.
Foul called on Shade here. Now, we asked Gina Auriemma, does anything concern you about this matchup today? And he said, yeah, Hannah Hidalgo concerns me. And he said, I was talking about this with my assistants. When you face a team that's found a little groove, that's gained some confidence and rhythm, as there it is, Rebecca, Blanca coming in right now, and then they have a player like Hidalgo, he said that's always a dangerous game in this tournament.
He compared her to Diana Taurasi in the way she was able to elevate all of those around her when they got things going in the tournament.
Specifically her senior year when so much of the talent around her had left. Hidalgo kicks, De Jesus connects on a big three. Notre Dame going to need that from De Jesus as well as Moore.
When these teams met earlier in the season, Notre Dame was 1 for 16 from 3. Vitally important to get that kind of firepower from the perimeter.
And they were 1 for 17 in the Sweet 16 against Vandy. Fudd dishes, Strong drops it out of bounds to Notre Dame.
So Hannah Hidalgo creates that shot by getting 2 feet in the paint. Azzi Fudd late with the closeout. De Jesus able to hit. Then on this end of the floor, it was Sanchez. Terrific help defense to help cause that turnover.
And there's the struggles you were talking about from Notre Dame in that game at UConn on January 19th. Hidalgo wiggling, fading, can't get the roll. Strong the box out. Arnold the fling ahead. Quiñones will lay it in.
Quiñones just brings something very different for the UConn Huskies. Her ability to run the floor. They go small, but now they have 5 players who can hit threes. And yes, I will be able to pronounce her name appropriately sooner rather than later.
Strong digs in there, and it's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow belongs with Notre Dame. Tight game early, midway through the first, with a trip to the Final Four on the line.
Effort running the floor by Quiñones, and the awesome pass by KK Arnold. Little fake, finish, smiles all around.
Time now for court coverage brought to you by Geico. How about a little steals counter on Hannah Hidalgo in the Sweet 16? 1, there's 2, 3, it keeps going. 4, 5? You want to get in on the count, partner?
Only if I can do it like Count Dracula. 7, ha ha ha, 8, ha ha ha. You know Count Dracula, right?
Are you talking about the Count from Sesame Street?
Isn't that Count Dracula, or is that the cereal?
That's just the Count. I don't think you put Dracula on it.
The Count, yes. Like, you have a child learning how to count, or so that's what you should use.
I agree. If you use Hannah Hidalgo steals, you can get up to a high number. Second 30-point triple-double in tournament history. Caitlin Clark with the other in 2023, and the second triple-double ever with steals in the tournament. Tisha Penichero, the legend, with the other. Quiñones off the miss. Quiñones is a freight train in transition and draws the foul. Blanca Quiñones will shoot 2.
Ryan, she did not have numbers when she corralled the basketball, and then she bobbed and weaved her way through about 3 different defenders. Watch this. She doesn't have numbers. There's 3 behind her. There's 1 with her, and just able to get around and through. That's one of the many things that makes this freshman so special.
Gina Auriemma talking about how she has a little bit of reckless abandon in her game, and when things are going good, it can turn into amazing. Sometimes when things are going bad, it can get out of control, but she's played with a fearlessness in this tournament as a freshman. You see how historically good she's been out of the gates, at least 15 points in each of these first 3 games.
If she had played more minutes and had gaudier numbers, she without question would have been one of the front runners for National Freshman of the Year.
Strong off the steal. Strong can't lay it in, but is fouled by De Jesus. That'll be her first. And Sarah Strong will go to the line to shoot 2.
Sarah Strong is the best player in the country, and there have been times, and UConn's an egalitarian offense, they share the ball, but you look at this, and it doesn't mean a player has to shoot the ball every time they touch it, but Sarah Strong should be involved in it with a touch on the majority of the UConn quarter-court possessions.
Strong hits the first free throw. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, mentioning Sarah Strong and her lack of touches here early, Gino Auriemma just addressed that in the huddle with his teammate. He's aware of that. He keeps looking at them saying, why can't you get it to her? He wants her more involved right here.
There you go, Holly. Kaylee Heckel into the game for UConn. Huskies on a 6-0 run. Hidalgo yet to score. KK Bransford into the game for Notre Dame. She was not healthy and available for the first meeting between these teams as Cole, wow! I don't know that I've ever seen it hang on the rim and just sit like that.
That's the hangingest of Chads.
As Quiñones travels.
Can we get a count meter on this? How many seconds? Does this just sit on the rim? Nice lefty hook, and then,
oh my goodness.
Look at that. Incredible.
I thought Oz the Mentalist had entered the building. Magic tricks here in the first quarter of this Elite 8 matchup. Here's Hidalgo. Little push shot is short. She's 0 for 4 from the floor.
Could have been a leprechaun sitting on the rim, pushing it in.
That would make more sense. Sabelle in, Quiñones connects.
She's special. She's special.
7 points off the bench for the Ecuadorian freshman. Prosper guarded by Quiñones, nothing there. Hidalgo will back it out.
When Hidalgo has it on one side of the floor, you see the UConn defenders trying to keep her on that side. Their feet almost parallel with the sideline.
Hidalgo picks up the dribble, gets it into Coles. Coles misses it badly with a fading shot clock. Heckel lobs it in, Moore knocks it away. Coles corrals for Notre Dame. Here's Moore, and she's fouled by Heckel. Second team foul on UConn. A coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues on TBS, starting Saturday at 6 Eastern. For tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com. UConn men take on Duke later on today.
It's a lot for UConn fans to be excited about today.
Moore finds De Jesus. She's fouled by Isabel.
Great job at De Jesus, though, that saw that Moore was kind of, you know, boggled up. She came and flashed right into the middle to get the ball.
First quarters against UConn this season, Hidalgo has not scored. Now, before this year, she had put up monster numbers in her first 2 career meetings against Connecticut. Had averaged 31.5 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. And that is going to be a 3-second violation as Notre Dame turns it over. 4th turnover for the Irish. Neil Ivey told us her #1 key in this game was fight, that they were going to have to fight for 40 minutes. Thought it was helpful. They had seen UConn earlier this season. As Strong muscles in and banks it home.
Especially when she gets on the right side of the basket, can go to her strong right hand. She is very good at absorbing contact with the shoulder and still finishing with the soft touch.
Coles looking for Hidalgo, finding her. Hidalgo yet to score. Off to Prosper. Prosper finds an angle and lays it in. It was Prosper with that game-winning layup off the Hidalgo pass to beat Vanderbilt in the Sweet 16.
Prosper can score for Notre Dame in the mid-range, around the basket as well.
Strong dealing with the pressure of Prosper. Zabel kicking. Quinones again. Blanca Quinones owning the first quarter of the Elite Eight.
But it's the penetrate that leads to the kick in terms of getting 2 feet in the paint to drawing the defender to give Quinones the good look.
18-9, UConn in front. De Jesus finds Coles, who will lay it in. Great look from Vanessa De Jesus, who's played well in this first.
Getting great interior play from Notre Dame. Notre Dame now in a 1-1-3 zone defense.
Strong comes back to it, about a 5-second difference game in shot clock. In the corner, Quinones will drive it. The reverse lay, way off. Hidalgo collects, 8 seconds left. Hidalgo in some trouble. Fudd comes up with it, and Quinones will lay it in. And that'll end the first. 12 for Blanca Quinones, and a 9-point Connecticut lead after 1.
Connecticut's defense making an impact, and Blanca Quinones is as well.
Stay tuned after this message and a word. Well, Niele Ivey wanting her team to stay poised. KK Bransford in this last huddle as well. Holly relaying to us that she was saying, this is what we talked about, guys. We got to have fight. Have to have fight to begin this second. And Blanca Quinones was just sensational. 12 points, outscored Notre Dame by herself coming off the bench. The freshman for UConn.
And the variety of ways in which she did it, not only hitting the threes, getting out in transition, getting into the paint, scoring. She's just been stellar in her first NCAA tournament.
That's the most points she scored in a quarter this season, and it comes in the biggest moment of the season thus far for UConn. Here's Strong, kicking it out, getting it back, doubled, looking for help, finding it in shade. Quinones will fire. No, missed that one. Arnold the rebound, gets it back to Quinones. Fudd nearly threw it away, and did. It's Notre Dame basketball. Looked like Fudd was ready to let it fly and then decided to give it up. And Quinones had vacated.
Yeah, she should have let it fly.
Generally, you know, the three-point shooter shoots it at 46%. You want her taking it. Notre Dame, 5 of 6 off of passes. They are 0 for 7 off the dribble as that's out of bounds. And just Moore and Coles unable to get on the same page there.
And in the interview with Holly, Niele Ivey said, you know, usually Hannah Hidalgo can get things going herself. You know, 4 steals in the first quarter against Vandy, no steals against UConn, has not gotten an easy look at the rim as a result.
Strong, off to Quinones. Here's Shade. Strong, the quick turn, left it short. Shade tracks it. Hidalgo got in there that time to knock it away. And then Shade fouls Prosper. And that'll be the second personal on Ashlyn Shade.
Ashlyn Shade is a terrific offensive rebounder, but Hannah Hidalgo, when she is at her best, is just everywhere. There are points in the Vanderbilt game where post players for Vanderbilt were catching the ball at the free throw line and looking around as if Hannah was going to be coming to get the ball from them.
Seeing ghosts.
Yes.
Moore can't hit the three. That's such a key for Notre Dame in this game. Here's Arnold, got fouled by Moore. That will be the first personal on Ayanna Moore. Sarah Williams will check in for UConn. Shade out. So now we'll see, Rebecca, does Notre Dame go back to defending Williams the way they did previously?
Well, they've been in this zone, and what's interesting, this
Quinones can't hit that three. It was wide open off the inbound.
This is a really big lineup for UConn, and I'm sure Notre Dame did not mean to leave her that wide open, and just fortunately for Notre Dame, she wasn't able to hit it.
Hidalgo, Prosper, Moore, De Jesus, and Coles, the five for Notre Dame. They only go 7 deep, and at times it's more like 6.5 with the limited minutes that Sanchez normally plays. Here's Hidalgo, guarded by Arnold, wanted a foul, didn't get it.
But you see the switching again by Connecticut defensively.
And Quinones will pick up a personal there. That is her first. Gino Auriemma told us before the game, he said, I'm confident we will play well defensively. We played defensively well all year. We're just going to need to make some shots. They have certainly done their job on the defensive end thus far against Hidalgo and Notre Dame.
She just drew three. A three again.
Hidalgo forcing it up and in, plus the foul. And now you see the animation from Hidalgo. Does that get her going?
Holy cow. A dribble penetration. She gets feet in the paint. 3 defenders on her. There's 3 here. Then she turns and 3 again. And yet she's still able to hit the shot and get to the free throw line. A player at her size, what she is able to do on both ends of the floor. I can't think of a comp for her in the women's game.
5-6. Misses that free throw. Quinones the rebound. Neil Ivey says she is a dog. These are her moments. She's built for this stage, as that's knocked out of bounds by De Jesus. We talked about the paint points for Hidalgo in the Sweet 16, just an absurd 28. She's averaged more than 13 per game, which leads all D1 guards. Of course, many of them come off of layups after steals, as De Jesus, I mean, Notre Dame's going to live with that all day if Sarah Williams wants to take that mid-range jumper.
Of course, and to your point, back to man, so helping off of Williams.
De Jesus coughs it up. Here is Fudd. Dishing over to Arnold. Arnold on the attack. Quinones. Met nicely by Moore. Fudd. Trying to find space, cannot. Williams knocked away by Hidalgo, and it last touched Arnold. And again, Notre Dame sagging off of Williams, and it played a role in that turnover. And you see Hidalgo slapping it away, and it deflecting last off of Arnold.
Smart defensive game plan from Notre Dame.
Here's Moore. Coles, nice interior pass, and a held ball. Possession arrow belongs to Notre Dame.
The right
for the 6th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Final Four, our coverage starts 6 Eastern on Friday, and the championship game, coverage beginning 2:30 Eastern on ABC a week from today.
Nice cut by Prosper after the switch.
Here's Hidalgo. Hidalgo spinning, floating, can it, follows it up and puts it in. Hidalgo trying to force the action for Notre Dame.
UConn back with the small lineup. Williams off the floor, Zabel in.
Strong juggles, foul on the floor. against Notre Dame.
I mean, it's remarkable. 5'7", and she draws multiple defenders but doesn't get boxed out and just able to finish and knows she can't come down and then go back up with it because it could get blocked by Sarah Strong. So instead, catches and finishes in one motion.
4 points in the second after not scoring in the first. Here's Fudd, the leaner is true.
Especially when Notre Dame's in a man-to-man. I think A.Z. Fudd is a player who's going to have to hunt some shots because she's capable of elevating and scoring over defenders.
Fudd against ranked teams this season has averaged 22 points and shot 48% from three.
So DeJesus does a good job fighting over the screen. She's right there, but Fudd just stops on a dime, elevates and hits. Outstanding in her mid-range.
Sarah Strong picks up her first. Fudd knocks it away. Stays here, and KK Bransford telling DeJesus you got to get that pass up. Heckel into the game for UConn. So is Zabel with Arnold, Fudd, and Strong. And now Quinones will check back in. Sarah Williams has gone to the bench for UConn. Quinones in for Arnold, so a lot more size now at that guard position when you exchange Arnold for Quinones. Bransford bodies in, and Sarah Strong was having none of it.
Sarah Strong being very vocal in this huddle right now for UConn. An area of growth certainly for her last year to this year. Terrific defense and block firing up her team.
On pace to be the first player since 2012 to average over 3 steals and 1.5 blocks. 6 to shoot. Bransford trying to create. Bransford gets denied. It's Strong again, and at last hits Notre Dame.
Keep in mind, this is a Sarah Strong with 2 fouls, and still she's able to control her body and use her hands. 1 foul, not trying to get a second here in the first half.
Heckel has it knocked away by Moore. Notre Dame off the steal. Hidalgo to Moore's right. Moore can't hit. DeJesus off the rebound, slides it out. Well, it might have been an opportunity for an open Hidalgo shot there, and Moore never saw her. Moore now 0 for her last 11 from 3. Hidalgo connects on a long 2. Her toes just on the line. You can see Hidalgo saying, review that one. Heckel gets around Hidalgo and lays it in. Astute take from Heckel. Hidalgo's attention was diverted just for a moment, and Heckel took advantage.
And also, the lane was wide open because of how UConn's spacing was offensively.
Hidalgo, you bet! Hidalgo the last 9 Notre Dame points, and they've pulled to within 4.
Neil Ivey said, we just have to have Hannah see one go in. She has seen multiple go in now. Carried Notre Dame back into this game.
Hello, it's me. Hello, it's me. Hello.
Yes, like it has felt the way you feel at a Final Four at a national championship game. That level of intention and intensity thus far with Notre Dame and UConn.
And it was interesting, too, talking to Coach Oramba before the game. He said the Final 8 game is already the toughest game of the year. Trying to get to the Final Four, you're feeling that juice from these teams courtside.
UConn trying to get to a 25th Final Four. Notre Dame 10th. And their first since 2019.
Coming out of the timeout, Neil Ivey switches up back to the zone.
Here's Zabel, and fouled by Hidalgo. That's her first. We're right back to break. 4:28 to go in the. Let's take a look at the player spotlight, brought to you by AT&T.
The defensive attention that Hannah Hidalgo draws, and it helps get teammates open. She penetrates, able to kick to DeJesus, and then again, bring it in, draws defense. 3 defenders on her. changes direction, draws three again, still able to get the and one opportunity. And of course, we know the havoc that she wreaks on the defensive end. Full of fire, and she has led the way for Notre Dame here in the second quarter.
Well, Hidalgo has outscored Connecticut in this second quarter, 9-4. All 9 of Hannah's points today in the second. Has 6 rebounds in this game as well. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, you see that fire and passion and competitive nature. She is one of the most elite competitors we have ever seen. But Hannah has said she is working on how to channel that and have composure with her competitive nature. One way she's doing it is working with Cheryl Allen right here. Cheryl Allen is a former player. She's been in these moments. And after every timeout, I see these two pull aside, have a little sidebar conversation, and Cheryl will sometimes grab her hands, have her look her in the eye. Like, let's make sure you're being competitive and using this fire that is the strength of her personality and why she's so great, but make sure that she's using it in a composed and poised way with her teammates later in the game. She said this is her biggest area of growth this season, is knowing when to meet her teammates with that intensity.
Great stuff. Holly and Cheryl, no doubt, has been a huge factor in Hidalgo's success. Here is Strong off on a three. Hidalgo the rebound. UConn intentional about getting Strong a touch there out of the timeout.
Yeah, just some simple pistol action, getting her the screen to get a good look from three.
Here's Hidalgo with space, fires. Maybe had it partially tipped. Hidalgo was looking for a whistle. Quiñones stops and lays it in. Blanca Quiñones has been UConn's best player today. She has 14 points. Fudd and Strong have both looked a little tentative at times on the offensive end of this game for Connecticut. And Quiñones has picked up the slack. Here's Hidalgo, got bumped, no whistle, no make. Quiñones off the rebound. Zabel attacking and laying. And Niele Ivey will take a timeout. I think Niele frustrated that Hidalgo did not get a whistle on either of those last 2 attempts.
3-on-1 break led by Blanca Quiñones. The last possession, she makes the right decision. 3-on-2. Gets it to Zabel, who gets an easy look at 2. Again, assesses. Blanca looked right, then looked left, and realized that was the place to put it.
28-20, UConn back in front. They have a 12-0 advantage in fast break points in this game. All right, Niele Ivey clearly was frustrated, as was Hannah Hidalgo, with no whistle on that last drive. Let's bring in our rules analyst, Dee Kantner. And Dee, just tell us if you think there should have been one on this drive from Hidalgo.
Again, what we're looking at here, the defense, we referee the defense. Officials focus on refereeing the defense. Who initiates the contact? The defense is going on a parallel path. Hidalgo's looking for the foul call. She initiates into a legal defender. I agree with the no call.
Good articulation there. Thank you very much, Dee. Dee Kantner, who officiated 26 Final Fours. Here's Prosper. Gets her defender in the air. And then Quiñones knew where the pass was coming back to. Here is Fudd. Strong mid-range is feathery.
That's where Sarah Strong had success in their last round game against North Carolina, catching around the free throw line, just turning and making an easy shot.
A 6-0 UConn run. Lead is back to 10 for the Huskies. After Notre Dame had pulled to within 4. De Jesus on the drive, gets fouled by Zabel. That'll be her second.
Blanca Quiñones with the steal on the defensive end of the floor. I thought Prosper should have gone into her and tried to get a foul there. Quiñones recovers, gets the steal. UConn pushes the other way, and this is where Sarah Strong just makes things look easy. Just turning and with a feathery touch hitting the 17-footer.
Let's check in with Hal.
Well, Blanca Quiñones, a freshman, is having the game of her life right now. She has got a fascinating journey. When she was just 12 years old, she was playing with a U15 team in Ecuador, her home country. Some scout coaches from the Italian national team saw her at that very young age and convinced her and her mother to move to Italy at 13 years old. She stayed there in the dorms, was there for all these years, and then finally came back. She has been playing with the Italian national team since she was 14 or 15 years old with the senior national team. So this mature, calm version of Blanca Quiñones, that's why she's been playing up with grown women, playing against pros. She's ready for this moment.
All right, Ollie, good stuff. Incredible backstory there as Quiñones turns it over.
Trying to get the reverse pivot and then dive to the basket by Sarah Strong, and Quiñones just led her too much.
9 UConn turnovers in this first half. The team that's #1 in the nation in assist to turnover ratio. Hidalgo, rainbow delivery off the mark. Strong behind the back, in traffic. Hidalgo read it. Prosper last hit it. Still 20 on the shot clock for UConn.
What would you say is the radius that you should not dribble within Hannah Hidalgo?
Yeah.
4 feet,
Yeah,
5 feet, 6 feet. Like, Sarah Strong has a pretty good handle here. As soon as you see Hannah Hidalgo, pick that ball up because she's going to go get it.
Hidalgo has set the D1 record for most steals in a single season. Fudd didn't pull the trigger there. Hidalgo comes, pass, and Aaron one that last hit Sabel, and that is a 10th UConn turnover.
Great idea by AZ Fudd, but KK Arnold was cutting to the basket to cleanse the lane, and Fudd just threw it behind her.
8-point UConn lead, under 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. De Jesus, not enough on it with Sarah Strong lurking. Quiñones in transition, pedals it out of bounds. Last hit Prosper, stays with UConn as Kaylee Heckel will come and get Fudd. And it looked like Gino Auriemma was saying shoot the ball to AZ Fudd as she came to the UConn bench.
So was Gino Auriemma.
He also was. He's been a good coach for a while. That one. Strong flags it down. You know, you don't get away with mispronunciations on this broadcast.
Not on this crew.
Arnold can't finish. Bransford off the miss to Jesus into the corner. Moore alone. Still can't hit. Follows it up. Feeds Prosper. How about Bransford at 3? That one is good.
Notre Dame has done a really nice job throughout this first half, answering runs, staying attached, making shots when they need to.
And that was the fight that Niele Ivey was emphasizing to her team and then to us before the game. Said it is going to take 40 minutes of fight. Zabel, no, rebound to Jesus. Here come the Irish. Moore has Hidalgo open, finds to Jesus. Bransford bounces too tall. Too much on that pass and was deflected as well.
Or maybe too much in the ball.
We've heard that from a few coaches. A 3-second difference game in shot clock. Heckel waiting, letting it wind. Shot clock all the way down, and Heckel somehow scoops it in. Wow! Almost felt like Heckel had waited too long, but a circus shot to end the first half as UConn takes a 7-point lead into halftime. And Blanca Quiñones, the NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. You are watching the Elite Eight presented by AT&T. Taking a look at our bracket, you see the Elite Eight matchups. Coming up next on ABC, it'll be UCLA and Duke. Here in Fort Worth, UConn, a 7-point lead on Notre Dame as we welcome you courtside once again. Ryan Ruocco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. Entertaining first half. Notre Dame got Hidalgo going in the second quarter. Time now for a slam dunk matchup brought to you by Wendy's.
And when you're watching Notre Dame, you can't take your eyes off of Hannah Hidalgo, and neither can all 5 defenders. Watch here, KK Arnold actually plays really good defense, and yet the 5'6" Hidalgo is able to get in, get the offensive board, and finish. She's gotten her hands on basketballs. here, just drawing the attention of the defense. All players on the court aware of where she is, and it doesn't matter. On this play here, has 2 defenders on her, still able to drain the 3. Coming down, and how about the effort from Blanca Quiñones? Helps, recovers out to the perimeter. AZ Fudd goes in, Quiñones gets back, gets the steal. Incredible presence on the defensive end of the floor on that possession. Getting out in transition and then hitting some huge threes for UConn as well. The freshman has been terrific.
Let's take a look at our first half stats, brought to you by Dixie. Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd combined for just 10 points in that first half, their fewest in a first half this season. See what happens in the third quarter here when these teams met in the regular season. It was a 9-point game at the half, and UConn outscored Notre Dame 27-12 in the third. A trip to the Final Four on the line today. AZ Fudd flipping it up and in off the window.
The entire action was set to get AZ Fudd a look. First to flare screen on the left side of the floor. Eventually she got it back. Coach Oriema knows she needs to be aggressive offensively for UConn to have success.
Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Listening to Niele Ivey's huddle at the half right now, she said, listen, a 7-point game is nothing. We are right in this. We just have to keep chipping away, chipping away. The way she wants to do it is with more backdoor action. She said that they are over-jumping everything. They're being very aggressive on defense. So she said, we can get some backdoor looks. We've got to look for them more and deliver those passes. They broke the huddle with defense. Niele breathing some life into her team that they are right in this thing.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. Cool shot here in Fort Worth for this Elite Eight matchup between UConn and Notre Dame. Second personal on Sarah Strong as Hidalgo misses the free throw. Now 0 for 2 from the line. She's an 84% free throw shooter. Neither of these teams go to the line often, and that is played true to form so far today. UConn 4 for 5 and Notre Dame 2 for 4. Before that make now 3 for 5. Hidalgo 10 points, 7 rebounds. Just 1 steal. Fudd giving it up. Arnold on the drive, gets fouled by Coles. And free throws here for KK Arnold.
That was screen-to-screener action. That was defended well by Notre Dame. And then KK Arnold just using her quickness to get by the defender and eventually to the free throw line.
Second foul on Coles as Arnold hits a free throw. You know, we talked with Gino Auriemma the very first game of the season against Louisville. He said UConn's key this year would be KK Arnold, Kaylee Heckel. How they were able to organize the team if they could hit shots. They've been able to do it beautifully, at least through the first 37 games of the season.
While both bringing incredible defensive presence as well.
De Jesus into the center of the lane, gets denied by Williams. Notre Dame wanted a whistle. Arnold feeds strong for the lay. Largest lead of the game for UConn. It is 12.
Keep in mind, when these teams met earlier this season, 9-point game at the half, a UConn lead, and then it was an explosive third quarter that changed the game.
A 27-12 third. Here's Hidalgo. Got fouled by Arnold, and Hidalgo is going to shoot 2.
UConn has had some nice moments of blocking shots on the defensive end. That time it's Williams, and then a quick outlet pass. KK Arnold comes down, nose to feed Sarah Strong for the finish.
Second foul on Arnold. Hidalgo was grabbing at a wrist a little bit in the aftermath. Appears okay. Hidalgo, the first player in ACC history to win Conference Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in the conference in back-to-back seasons. So much history for this junior guard. Who will have a big-time recruiting class around her next year. Notre Dame with 4 top 40 recruits committed. Hidalgo has 12. Only other scorer in double figures in this game is Blanca Quinones, who will come off the bench for UConn. Here's Fudd. Fudd weaving left alone. Does not get the roll. Coles bear hugs the rebound.
Fudd missed that shot, but UConn has been very intentional coming out into this third quarter, getting her looks.
Hidalgo mid-range is good. That's now 14 for Hannah Hidalgo.
So bouncy off the dribble, getting to her mid-range game.
Good crowd today in Fort Worth for this matchup between Notre Dame and UConn. Here's Arnold. On the drive, misses the layup. Hidalgo with an 8th rebound. And then Shade takes it away. Shade, little pull-up, rims off to Jesus. Able to control it this time for Notre Dame. Coles turning, can't hit. Maybe not a great look that early in the shot clock for Notre Dame. Here's Fudd using the screen. Rims out, Shade. The rebound and is fouled. And it'll stay right here with UConn.
The bounce that Hannah Hidalgo has, especially when she's going right, you have to respect that she can explode all the way to the rim, but can also hit the mid-range, clapping, getting herself going. Then on this end of the floor, Ashlyn Shade's been a terrific offensive rebounder throughout her career.
Hidalgo, 200 steals, a D1 record for men's or women's in a single season. Strong mid-range, doesn't get the roll. El Alfie the rebound. Arnold a 3. That won't go. El Alfie a factor again, and it's out of bounds off of her. Jana El Alfie getting early time in this third.
Gina Loriema going with Jana El Alfie because she is comfortable and confident, Ryan, looking for that 15 or 17 footer. And if Notre Dame's going to play off of her the way they play off of Sarah Williams, she will be more confident taking that shot, but can also be a defensive and rebounding presence for the Huskies.
She had some huge moments for UConn last year en route to their 12th title, including in the semifinals against UCLA and Lauren Betts.
This is a lineup, though, for UConn. Jana El Alfie, they will not switch 1 through 5, just 1 through 4 now.
Hidalgo, the crossover, gets strong to commit, and then Arnold comes up with a steal. Arnold blasting ahead, gets blocked from behind, and then it's whacked out of bounds by Hidalgo. So a couple of Hidalgo turnovers here when Notre Dame has a chance to creep a little closer.
KK Arnold charging down, but Notre Dame did a nice job of recovering defensively.
Shade. Off to El Alfie. Arnold with a lot of space. Hidalgo on Shade. Strong cutting through is fouled on the pass. It'll stay here as that foul is going to be against Prosper, and that will be her 3rd. Prosper, the second most important player to this Notre Dame team. She's averaged 15 points, 6 rebounds, 1.5 blocks in this tournament. The ACC's most improved player, and now that's a tough decision for Niele Ivey, but she's going to get Prosper out of there for the moment and bring Sanchez in.
Prosper just brings a different level of versatility for both offensively and defensively for Notre Dame.
Fudd looking in, knocked away. Bransford on the steal. Here comes Hidalgo. Hidalgo into the lane, flips it up wildly, gets it back, and gets it out to Jesus. Felt like Hidalgo knew she was just going to have to get it off the backboard once she committed to the air there. Wow, Jesus just all kinds of struggles with the handle, and Niele Ivey shaking her head in the aftermath. That is a 13th Notre Dame turnover. And they've had a few in a row here when they've had chances to cut into the deficit. UConn an 8-point lead, almost midway through the third quarter, this Elite Eight matchup. Strong will fire, short, long board. Arnold tips it over to Strong, who calms things down. Fudd, little mid-range, back iron it off, and it's going to stay here as Sanchez fouls El Alfi.
El Alfi's been really good here in these limited minutes, just getting to the offensive glass, getting those second opportunities for UConn.
Now Quinones will check in for Shade. Prosper back in for Sanchez. How about UConn? 5-0 boards in the third quarter after they had 2 the entire first half. They've gotten a lot of good looks here. They just have not gone down for UConn. They are 2 for 9 from 3 in this game. Quinones just keeps it in bounds. It's a Connecticut team that's second in the nation in three-point shooting percentage. Only Gonzaga at a higher percentage. Here's Strong, draws 2, 4 to shoot. Arnold wrapping around, misses the layup, and a whistle again. El Alfi a factor on the offensive glass. Notre Dame in with the foul. Lauren Betts still to come. UConn and Notre Dame, so many memorable moments. This towards the top. 2018 national semifinal. Enrique Agumbawale with that jumper to put Notre Dame into the championship game. That overtime 2. And this century in the NCAA tournament, UConn just 3-5 against Notre Dame. You see the point differential, all those games incredibly close. They are 117-9 against all other opponents with a point differential of 25 points per game. Jana El Alfi at the line with UConn in the bonus with 4:43 still to go here in this third. And, you know, even though Connecticut has missed 10 straight shots, Notre Dame has not really been able to take advantage because of the way UConn has attacked the offensive glass, most notably El Alfi. And there you go again. Quinones the O-board. Strong will flip it up and off as UConn cannot get anything to go, and then Strong picks up a frustration foul, and it's a costly one because that's her third.
Sarah Strong here just misses the little bunny, gets in with it's the reach, the extra reach at the end there.
Strong staying on the floor with those 3. Prosper out there with 3 as well, those two guarding each other. Here's Hidalgo. Hidalgo sees a seam, and it's stripped by Fudd. Arnold comes up with it. Great hands from AZ Fudd.
But smart to attack El Alfi as the one player who won that switch out on the on-ball screen.
11 straight missed field goals for UConn, second longest streak of the season. But their defense has limited Notre Dame to 5 points in this third. Quinones bounces, El Alfi lays it in.
Credit El Alfi. It is really hard to get limited minutes throughout the course of the season, throughout the course of the tournament, and then to come in without playing in the first half and to perform like this.
She has been a huge difference maker. Coles put it on the deck, can't finish the layup. Rebound slapped into the corner, and Fudd has it. Notre Dame has not been able to take advantage of the UConn misses here in this third. 10-point UConn lead. Arnold gives it up. Quinones travels. And Gino Auriemma says, Blanca, just go.
Here, just a nice pass by Quinones to El Alfi. Good looking finish, but she moves to the right spot so Blanca can just dump it off to her. The work is done early, which makes the finish easy.
Notre Dame's gone 5 minutes without scoring. Prosper kicks it out. Hidalgo trying to separate from Arnold, who's done a great job on her. Hidalgo lays it in, plus the foul. Hidalgo finally creating some daylight.
KK Arnold has done a very good job all game long as an elite defender, but I don't know that there's a defender in the country who can handle Hannah Hidalgo all game long. The explosiveness, the water bug-like nature of how she can bounce around the floor and get to the rim.
Hidalgo has all 7 Notre Dame points here in this third. As KK Arnold picks up her third foul, goes to the bench for UConn. Heckel in. Hidalgo completes the three-point play. 7-point game. 2:40 to go in the third quarter of the Elite Eight. Hidalgo trying to get some pressure up into Heckel. And Hidalgo gets called for the foul there. Notre Dame over the limit. Free throws here for Kaylee Heckel. Just the second personal on Hidalgo. Heckel shot at 78% as a freshman at USC last season. 67% this year at Connecticut. And Heckel makes the first. Holly?
Well, you cannot say enough about Notre Dame's resilience this season. They were 3 for 6 in January. They'd just gotten blown out by UConn, lost to Louisville, lost to Georgia Tech. The captains of this team, Hannah Hidalgo, Kassan Prosper, Vanessa DeJesus, pulled the team together and said, we have to get better. Notably where they got better was their defensive intensity and their rebounding. Here they are in this game late in the Elite Eight, and that resilience is shining through.
No doubt, all first Elite Eight since 2019 for Notre Dame. Hidalgo will fire short. Rebound, knocked out of bounds. Hey, the NCAA Women's Championship continues tomorrow night with 2 more Elite Eight matchups on ESPN and the ESPN app. We'll be right back here for Michigan and Texas in the first game at 7 Eastern, and then it'll be TCU and South Carolina. The last 2 spots in the Final Four on the line. Notre Dame going to appeal this out of bounds, which was awarded to UConn.
The out-of-bounds play by Notre Dame has been appealed.
We'll step aside. Come back in a moment. 2:04 to go in the third. Yeah, looks like it may have last hit the right hand of Sarah Strong. We'll find out. Now, this out of bounds initially called off of Notre Dame was appealed by Notre Dame. And we'll see, does it last hit the right hand of Sarah Strong? It's very close. You know, at that initial look, it looked like yes. We got the announcement now.
As a result of the review, the Notre Dame appeal is successful. Notre Dame ball. Shot clock will be set to 20 seconds. 20.
All right, so a successful appeal, meaning Notre Dame will not lose a timeout there. And they will get possession back with 2:04 to go in this third, trailing by 9. And Hidalgo with 17 points between the second and third quarters. The rest of her teammates with just 5 total. And both teams have struggled to shoot it from 3 in this game. UConn 2 for 9, Notre Dame 3 for 9. Here's Hidalgo putting it on the deck, squeezes it to the corner. Moore didn't take the 3, instead misses the mid-range, and Strong the rebound. Interesting that she turned down the open corner 3 off that pass, maybe in her head after going 0 for 8 in the Sweet 16, 0 for 3 so far today. Off the double, Heckel bounces, El Alfie lays it in.
And Brian, sometimes it can also just be the way you catch the ball or the way your feet are set. You just don't have the confidence. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Wait to get it back.
El Alfie, 4 points, 3 rebounds, all here in this third after she did not play in the first half. Strong comes up with a steal as Coles tried to force it in.
El Alfie, good D on Coles to limit her vision on the pass as well.
Fudd waiting, getting instruction from Gina Auriemma. Hazy Fudd, just 6 points this afternoon. El Alfie given a lot of space. Finds Fudd, back to El Alfie. Strong a 3 is good. Large largest lead of the day for the Huskies.
Hannah Hidalgo off the ball now, but you would expect her to get the ball back, get some action where she can get a decent look at the basket.
She waits in the corner at the moment. A 7-0 UConn run. De Jesus fires and hits the three. Big response there from Vanessa De Jesus. And the shot clock turned off. In an entertaining first 3 quarters. UConn has not been able to fully separate. Hidalgo knocks it away. Heckel out to Strong. Does she get the roll? No, and that'll do it for the third. UConn takes an 11-point lead into the fourth. A trip to the Final Four on the line.
Sarah Strong relatively quiet offensively in this game, but a big three late in the third.
UConn, Notre Dame. This rivalry renewed. Stay tuned after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, just the 4th time during this 53-game winning streak for UConn that they have led by 11 or fewer when entering the 4th quarter. A trip to the Final Four on the line. UConn a 47-36 lead on Notre Dame. Fewest points through 3 quarters during the win streak. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Niele Ivey just told her team in the huddle, this is the moment we've got to go on a run. If you want to get to the Final Four, the 4th quarter, you've got to be tough. You've got to will shots to go in. We'll see if her team can execute.
All right, Holly, good stuff. Hidalgo with strong honor. Bransford met by Quinones. Bransford tries to get it out to Hidalgo. Strong. And is it going to be a backcourt violation before the foul? It is. Could have been a 4th foul on Strong. Instead, they'll call it a backcourt violation.
This is UConn's smaller lineup, a more defensive-minded lineup.
I mean, D, was this not deflected by Strong? Oh, D, was that properly adjudicated there?
I can't tell. It's last a touch, first a touch. So Strong hit it, but did Notre Dame hit it again before it went into the backcourt? That is the issue.
Hits the mid-range, right. It's not whether or not it was controlled in the front court. It was just, did a UConn player touch it before it went to the backcourt?
The NCAA rule is last a touch, first a touch, and there was no change of team control in the front court. So
when we get a chance, we'll take another look at that to see whether or not it was touched in the front court after the Strong deflection. That is different than how that rule is in the pros as Hidalgo gets fouled. And let's take another look, D. So Strong clearly touches it there. Is it touched by Moore before it? Yes, it is.
There's your issue. Moore touches it in the front court, then is the first one to touch in the back court. And he is correct. That is the first violation before the foul. They lucked out because it would have been a foul on Strong.
And it would have been number 4 on Strong. And by the way, you could certainly argue that's not a good rule, that possession, if possession isn't gained and it has been deflected, it shouldn't just be about whether or not it was last touched. That is where it's different than the pro game.
Rye, I have argued that many times.
Yeah.
Many of us would like it to be, once it's deflected, it is a free ball, and you do not have that last touch, first touch. Because many people don't understand that rule.
Yeah.
And they think we've lost our minds out there, but that is our rule.
I'm sure there's a huge portion of the audience watching that who was thinking that exact thing. D, great job clarifying that. Here's Spud.
UConn used Blanca to initiate the offense just to get Hidalgo out of the way in terms of defensively.
Now Strong is fouled by Prosper, and that will be her 4th. So Kassan Prosper, who's been held to just 4 points so far today, will check out after picking up her 4th foul, and Coles will go to the line. $13 fouls apiece called on Notre Dame and UConn in this game. As Strong hits the first free throw. 5 steals in this game. Strong has not looked like her fluid offensive self today, but has made a major impact on the defensive end as she hits both free throws there.
Holly documented early on sort of the turnaround for the Notre Dame Irish this season, and most of it has happened on the defensive end of the floor. They have been very good limiting both Strong and Fudd.
Bransford gets fouled. And now we'll put her on the line after Shade picks up the personal. How does Notre Dame generate offense in this fourth quarter, Rebecca? Because they've done an excellent job in this game holding down UConn's highly powered offense.
I think they have to unleash the Hidalgo as best as they can. You know, she is so disruptive. She's been limited in terms of her ability to get steals and then easy buckets the other way. But they've done an admirable job on the defensive end in the quarter court. But if they can get her to get some picks, some steals,
that would get
easy
it going
looks,
offensively.
get it going offensively, yes.
See if they do. Might be time to take those gambles if you're Notre Dame. Here's Fudd.
But once again, UConn initiating with a player not guarded by Hidalgo.
Fudd, pitter-patter dribble, Strong. Takes the pass, little leaner, short. Strong whacks the rebound. Fudd fakes, takes, can't hit. Shade gets a hand on it, but Hidalgo comes away with it for Notre Dame. Here's Hidalgo, giving it up. Moore goes baseline and banks it in.
Hidalgo did not take the shot that time, but that's the same kind of feel. Even with the defensive board, push pace, get down quickly, try to have numbers for an easier look.
Hidalgo's 10th double-double this season, 18th of her career. 18 points, 10 boards. Those points were Moore's first. Strong connects on a 3. Sarah Strong's second triple of the day. Bransford guarded by Quinones, gets the roll, plus the foul. Tough finish from KK Bransford and a chance for 3.
Sometimes Sarah Strong can make it look so easy offensively here. She just kind of catches, turns. You're going to play that far off of me, and then steps into the shot. And then Bransford gets by Quinones. What a tough finish to get hit on the shooting hand and still get it to drop.
Neil Ivey told us Bransford would be huge for Notre Dame today, that they needed her experience and versatility. Moore off the rebound, but then Strong ties her up, and the possession arrow belongs with UConn. We set the lineups for you. Strong, Shade, Fudd, Arnold, Quinones, the 5 for UConn. This is their small lineup with Strong at the 5. For Notre Dame, it's Moore, Coles, Bransford, De Jesus, and Hidalgo.
And again, keeping the ball away from Hannah Hidalgo to initiate the offense for UConn.
Strong gets it over to Fudd. Fudd guarded by Hidalgo. Quinones connects. Largest lead of the day for UConn. Quinones with 17. Can Notre Dame respond? Coles can't finish. UConn gaining control with 6:20 to go. How about the bench advantage, 29-6 in favor of the Huskies. Fudd didn't take it, drives and finishes, plus the foul.
Both Sarah Strong and Azzi Fudd, the offensive leaders for the UConn Huskies all season long, have come alive again here in the fourth quarter. Off balance, mid-range, Azzi Fudd able to get it to drop. Little tap on the left hand and follow through with the right.
UConn finally getting some shots to drop as Fudd completes the three-point play. The lead is now 18 for UConn, a 9-2 run. Strong and Fudd with 10 points combined in this fourth. Moore, the leaner, is good with Strong all over.
What a tough shot by Moore.
Still plenty of time left in this game.
Notre Dame's got to get stops here.
Quinones, you bet! A 20-point Elite Eight performance for Blanca Quinones, the Ecuadorian freshman. Moore, yeah. Took a trip around and got in, and now Niele Ivey will take a timeout. Try and set up her defense.
Sarah Strong behind the back once, behind the back twice, and then great dribble penetration from AZ Fudd leads to Blanca Quinones with the three, and then one more. Bench feeling it, holding the follow through.
Let's take a look at the Capital One rewarding performance. How about Blanca Quinones?
If the women's basketball world wasn't aware of Blanca Quinones before today, they certainly are now. What a huge performance so far in this game, leading everyone in scoring with 24 made threes for UConn on the day. Has been completely unafraid in the biggest moment of her young college career.
Her second career 20-point game. She has never led UConn in scoring. That is what she is positioned to do right now.
Notre Dame picking up in their full court pressure. Again, UConn using someone that is not being guarded by Hidalgo to initiate the offense.
Fudd on the drive, the kick. Quinones, not that time. Rebound knocked around, grabbed by De Jesus. Notre Dame pushing more, they need it. In and out. Quinones can't hang on to the rebound. There's Hidalgo. Hidalgo in a crowd, now guarded by Fudd. Hidalgo, those shifty motions, she gets fouled. And Hidalgo's going to the line to shoot two.
We talked early in this game in the first half that Sarah Strong wasn't getting enough touches. Well, things have changed a little here in this fourth quarter. She's touched it on every possession. When you're the best player in the country, that's what needs to happen.
And Connecticut, after missing 11 straight shots, has hit 8 of their last 12. Hidalgo sinks the free throw. 19 points for Hannah Hidalgo. I mean, you can't say enough about Hidalgo and the engine she has been behind this Notre Dame run. The job she and Niele Ivey have done to get this program back into the Elite Eight this season, just fantastic work by them.
And you come into a game, watching a game, knowing how impressive she is, and yet she still gives you so many wow moments as you're watching her play.
Strong gives it up to Arnold. UConn content to run clock. And a foul here is going to be on Notre Dame. And if it's Prosper, it is her 5th. And it is number 5 on Cass Prosper. A terrific season from Kassan Prosper. If it does end here today, the senior has another year of eligibility. She has not yet said what she is going to do. And certainly Notre Dame would hope to have her back after a terrific season this year. Here's Strong. Strong lumbering through the lane and the soft lay with the left hand. 18 for Sarah Strong, 12 of them in the second half. What a move. Hidalgo to the cup. 22 for Hannah Hidalgo. Hidalgo trying to just chase her way into a steal there on Quinones.
UConn smartly choosing to use clock.
Quinones giving it up. Fudd shoveling back. Shade, no. She's really struggled from three thus far in this tournament, with just a terrible pass from Bransford, trying to get it ahead to Hidalgo, and throws it out of bounds.
We talked in the first half about Sarah Strong and her finishing ability going right there. She's able to go left, and Hannah Hidalgo just gets by. What a crossover and finish inside.
17 Notre Dame turnovers today. That one costly, still with over 3 minutes to go, off a stop. Just unnecessary. They're trying to get Hidalgo going in transition, but she couldn't catch up to it. Quinones tied up by Hidalgo. That's going to be a jump ball, and Notre Dame has the possession arrow.
Quinones wasn't told about the radius. There should just be like a circle around Hannah Hidalgo when she's on the defensive end, and you don't go anywhere near it with a live dribble.
Second steal of the game for Hidalgo, who's had at least 8 in the first 3 tournament games. UConn's tried to keep the ball away from her. Hidalgo spinning. Incredible effort. Couldn't quite finish it. There's Hidalgo. Sneaky, sneaky. Strong gets back to it, and Connecticut awarded a timeout after Hannah Hidalgo's relentless pursuit of the basketball.
I mean, she never stops. She never slows down. Here, she's attacking the glass, can't hit the shot, gets back and able to poke it away, forcing UConn to use a timeout from Sarah Strong. Once again, just the incredible effort. Hannah Hidalgo everywhere.
And then Strong with a smart play to pounce back on it and call the timeout. You know, Sarah Strong, only 2 years into her UConn career, Diana Taurasi recently said she thinks when it's all said and done, she could be the greatest player to ever wear this uniform. Right now, she has the most steals ever for a UConn player through their first 2 games. She's second through their first 2 seasons, second in points to Maya Moore, second in assists to Diana Taurasi. She's third in rebounds, trailing just Tina Charles and Maya Moore. Just incredible company, and presumably some real estate still to go here in her sophomore season as we check in with Holly.
Well, she's going to be one of the all-time greats to ever play at UConn if she isn't already. And, you know, part of it is because of her family background. Allison Feaster, we've documented many times, played in the WNBA, was a terrific player at Harvard. Her father, Danny Strong, an NC State player, played 15 years in Europe. These are 2 high-level basketball players, and they have raised Sarah to be the same way. Sarah told me a few years ago that they would watch film after her high school games, and she said they've been the perfect blend of loving and hard on me, that they've done both, and that's helped her reach this height and be one of the greatest for UConn.
Great story, Holly, and incredible seeing what this sophomore has already accomplished. 2:30 to go, UConn by 15. Shade, letting more clock run. Shot clock at 7. Strong trying to make it happen. Strong gets fouled, and Sarah Strong is going to the line. Coming up next, here on ABC, it'll be Duke and UCLA. Toby Fournier, the Duke star, coming off 22-9 in the Sweet 16. That game will tip at 3:20 Eastern on ABC.
Eager to see how Duke defensively handles the mismatch in terms of size with Lauren Betts inside. We've been so impressed with Duke, especially the latter third of the season, not only on the defensive end, but the way they can fill it up offensively.
We did a game of theirs at Cameron Indoor towards the end of the regular season, and you and I both said at the time, this is a Final Four team, which is remarkable considering they went through a stretch to begin the year where they had lost 6 of 9 games.
Yes.
Hidalgo has it taken away by Fudd. Hidalgo trying to get it back. Nearly did. Fudd surrounded, and Hidalgo finally fouls her after trying to snare the basketball back from Fudd. Third foul on Hidalgo, who does now have 5 turnovers today. A Notre Dame team that knocked off the 3 seed and the 2 seed to get here. Niele Ivy's first trip to the Elite Eight as a head coach, had plenty as an assistant and as a player. 21 years she has been on the South Bend campus. A staple of the program. 1:50 to go in the fourth. Moore looking for a seam, got fouled by Fudd, and Ayanna Moore will go to the line. Moore 0 for 5 from 3 in this game after she was 0 for 8 against Vanderbilt. You know, just 1:43 to go, Rebecca, but you would think, barring a basketball miracle here, one thing this run has certainly done is jolt the intrigue, interest, and excitement for Hannah Hidalgo's senior season next year at Notre Dame.
Without question. I mean, she's always been one of the most exciting players to watch in women's college basketball. And you know, early on in the season, it just didn't look like the normal Notre Dame team. They were dealing with injuries and other things, but they refocused on the defensive end, and certainly she has just been magnanimous all season long.
And for Connecticut, what a job to mostly neutralize her as a defensive disruptor all game. Bransford knocks that away. Shot clock at 4. Strong finds Arnold out to Quinones. Doesn't get the roll. Bransford the rebound, and a whistle going the other way. It'll be on Strong, her 4th, with 1:11 to go in this 4th quarter. And UConn has done a nice job being able to survive the fight and the tenacity of Notre Dame, especially on the defensive end from Notre Dame in this game. Gina Auriemma now on the brink of a 25th Final Four in what would be the 17th trip in the last 18 seasons. Now, Jeff Walz, the Louisville head coach, the other day was asked about Louisville's 4 trips to the Final Four in his tenure, and he said, well, when you consider there's really only 3 spots open each year, it's pretty good, right?
We've become so accustomed to UConn's success. It's incredible the number of Final Fours that they have been to.
And about to punch their ticket to another. Strong center of the lane, fouled by Moore. Free throws here for Sarah Strong. Winner of this game will face the winner of South Carolina TCU in Phoenix in the semifinals. Well, Sarah Strong, another 20-point game, now tied with Brianna Stewart for the most by a UConn player this century through their first 2 seasons. And Strong gets both free throws. Timeout, Notre Dame. 46.6 to go in this 4th. A reminder, Duke and UCLA up next in their Elite Eight matchup here on ABC. Let's take a look at Sarah Strong's afternoon, Rebecca.
Sarah Strong certainly came alive in a big way in the second half, out in transition, just stepping comfortably into an uncontested 3. Equally comfortable with the contested threes, going left as well as she went right. Quiet a little bit in the first half, but certainly not quiet at the end of the game.
She ends up with 21 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 5 steals. And UConn 46 seconds away from the Final Four. And meanwhile, Rebecca, I know we've done some of it already, but just put a final bow on Notre Dame and their season. First Elite Eight since 2019. Historic performances from Hannah Hidalgo in this tournament. And Niele Ivey leading this group to a place that no prognosticators had them going this year.
Yeah, without question, and especially with a relatively thin roster, a roster that dealt with injuries throughout the course of the year, but got hot at the right time as they continued to build throughout the latter part of the season. And a lot for Notre Dame fans to be proud of and look forward to as well.
And a top recruiting class as well, as Moore can't hit the three. Shade gets it ahead to Fudd. About a 7-second difference game in shot clock. And a traveling violation called against Fudd.
Timeout for substitution.
All right, they're going to call a timeout for substitution instead. And there's the ovation for AZ Fudd, as well as Sarah Strong. Niele Ivey, always classy, applauding as well as those two UConn stars check out. Quinones is going to run this clock. Shot clock at 3. Patterson with it at 1. Hidalgo comes up with a steal. 3 seconds left. Hidalgo gets blocked, and that will do it. UConn is headed to an unprecedented 25th Final Four.
A team that was dominant all season long, and the UConn Huskies weathered a storm and competition from Notre Dame throughout this game. Big performances from their big three: Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd, Blanca Quinones. Territory that is very familiar to Coach Auriemma and his crew, headed to another Final Four.
17th Final Four in the last 18 seasons for Gino Auriemma and Connecticut, as they hold off Notre Dame 70-52 the final. A reminder, Duke UCLA coming up next here on ABC. Sarah Strong, the sophomore sensation, is with Holly Rowe.